I've known this dude since the beginning of my coaching journey. I've always followed him because I was an Insanity girl. That's how I started out with Beachbody. And so I was more of a fangirl of Jimmy. I was like, that's the guy in the video. I thought he was the coolest thing since sliced bread. And I started following him on social media because he was the guy in the video. And, you know, at least when you first get into the Beachbody world, like that's a super cool thing. And so I think I like when he would start interacting with me and messaging back, I'm like, Jimmy Hayes Nelson, this is amazing. That's the guy with the good squats. If you guys ever watch Insanity, that's what he says next to Jimmy. Like when he's doing, I was like plyometrics or something. He's like, Jimmy, you got some good squats. Oh, see the, there you go. Is that you and him in the poster there? No,
just him.
But here's some of his accolades, just so you guys know that he's the real deal and has some, you know, a leg to stand on in terms of speaking into your business and into your life. He is a lifetime 15-star diamond, which we are currently pushing for right now. He is a 4-time elite coach. He is also in the Millionaires Club. He's been coaching for 11 years. So he's an old fogey in the coaching world. He is a PIO and Insanity cast member. So if you've done PIO or Insanity, he has been in the cast of those. So I highly respect his business, and even more importantly, I love listening to him speak. Like he's a very dynamic teacher and speaker, and so I'm so honored to have you on our team call tonight, Jimmy.
Absolutely. Number one, can you guys hear me?
I can.
Perfect. Okay. I'm working with a different mic here, so I just want to make sure you guys are up and running. Good evening and welcome, and thank you so much for being here. I think your time is so valuable just in life, in this business, with your families, with your fitness, with your nutrition. And when you honor somebody like Jatana with your time and plug in, I know as a team leader, really rallying the troops to get people on things live is a really big deal. We live in this world of everything's streamed, everything's at our own time, everything's on demand. And so for you guys knowing that this is probably being recorded and you could watch it later, I tell my team all the time, those people that plug in live, get to live events, do things where they block out everything else, they get the most out of this. So I'm going to challenge you right now. I know there's probably people that things are going on. There's kids around. To the best of your ability, can you treat this as if you and I were sitting having coffee today, or if you were coming to a class of mine? And what I mean by that is most of us have about 1,000 tabs on something open right now. We're trying to answer email, and I understand that we try to multitask. We try to do the most of this business, kind of like juggling, 3 or 4 pieces of fruit. But I'm going to tell you what I want to give you tonight is something you're going to be able to use for a really long time. And so what I'm going to do is just ask that you respect Jatana's time, your team's time, my time, and give me like your undivided attention as if we were sitting having coffee. Because what I find so interesting about this business is coming up early, and Jatana touched on the fact that I've been a coach for 11 years. And I don't like to pull the grandpa card very often, or like your parents, what they talked about. Back in my day, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow. But we didn't have Zoom, and we didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have YouTube. And right now, literally, if Jatana went away tomorrow and said, I'm never talking to any of you guys, you have everything you need to be successful in this business, right? You don't need the next training. You don't need the next call. You don't need the next live in the Beachbody Champions page. All this stuff is legit. It's super important. Community, teamwork, being plugged into the community is vital. But when it comes to just straight information, we are not at a lack of information. There was no go to YouTube and pull up Beachbody coach training and have somebody like Melanie Mitro, who's been the top coach for, it seems like a decade now, literally doing a video a day telling you how she built her business. I mean, what's so beautiful about this business structure and about this, about network marketing in general is it's the only industry I know where everybody shares their flipping answers. Because let's say you were in my organization and came in. This doesn't work like corporate America. In corporate America, if I'm your boss and I want you to work really, really well, I want you to work so well up until you would take my spot. Then you're dealing with my money, and I don't want you to mess with that. In this business, you know what? You could zoom past Jatana and you could make more than her. You could outrank her. You could out-elite her, and it doesn't hurt her income. If anything, she's rooting you on. And I don't think everybody always grasps that. that the people that got in beforehand don't always make the most money, that the people that got in beforehand don't have the biggest organizations. Like I said, I've been in 11 years. I have a lot of friends and counterparts in this business that have bigger organizations than I do, that have hit more, of the Beachbody resume checkoffs, and literally make more money than I do. And I think for the longest time when I first got in, I thought that I could say names that a lot of you probably wouldn't even know that I always assumed would be the top earners in this business. But you know what? Nobody told Lindsay Matway that. Nobody told, Josh Spencer that when he came in at 23 years old and came in and became top coach. And so if you're waiting your turn, and I wasn't even going to touch on this, but it's just been in my gut today. If you're like, well, I'm going to wait my turn, right? And when my turn comes, then it's going to be my turn to be diamond or go on a retreat or be elite or make, that extra couple $100 a week or that first $1,000 week. And this doesn't work like corporate America. You don't have your turn. Longevity means nothing in this game if you're not willing to do the work, right? And where I got humbled really quick is when people came, I literally signed up 6 months after the launch of coaching and quickly got put in a dead spot. So if any of you are there like, yeah, but my upline doesn't put any coaches underneath me, guess what? We have something in common. And if you've ever had a coach put below you ever in the history of ever, guess what? You have an advantage on me. So anything I've done, you can do as well. And so the things I'm going to give you tonight is literally things I've picked up that are long-term success. Everybody's looking for quick and easy. I'm going to go back to the fact that, now my kids don't understand what it is to wait till Saturday morning to watch cartoons, right? Because now between Netflix and Amazon Prime, and we can watch anything, anytime. There's no delayed gratification, right? And so I think in our society in general, we think, hey, I'm going to give this 30 days. I'm going to give this 60 days. I'm going to try. And the first thing I'm going to tell you right now is if you're not willing to be here a year from now, and Jatana, I hope I'm okay to boldly say this, quit. Because Jana's like, half my team just quit. We don't ever talk on my call again. This is why I mean this, guys. Because I think so many people work this business. Like, let's say this was my back door here, right? And my hand is on the back door. And they run their business with a hand on the back door because they're just waiting for that first hiccup to go, yep, I knew this wasn't going to work, right? I knew my friends wouldn't want this. I knew Shakeology was too expensive. I knew somebody was going to tell me this was a pyramid scheme. I knew I wouldn't know what to do and I'd feel overwhelmed. And so when you have your hand on that back door latch and you're looking for the reason to leave, you're going to leave. And I think when people ask me before, I'm going to give you 15 things that are really going to build you up for a long-term success. But if I had to give you one right off the bat of, Jimmy, what has been the biggest key to your success? It was a decision I made, and it wasn't a conscious one. So my backstory before becoming a coach is I was a former 100-pound overweight, 3-time college dropout. Found myself working, living back with my parents in my early 20s because I had ended up living in an apartment, like literally with a mattress pad on the floor, a TV in the corner, and living off a box of Minute Rice. And that sounds like a made-for-TV movie, but that literally was my life. And when I jumped in and I started bartending, and a guy that I was bartending with introduced me to Power 90, and there was no coaching. I was just a customer. But I found something between the programs, being able to just push play on a DVD, and I found an online community, because back in the day we just had the message boards, right? I couldn't see people's faces. We all had silly little screen names. Mine was Actor Blue. Insert joke here. Yep. But I found a community. I fell in love with the community and stumbled into a business. And so what was so brilliant about this community is I finally found some people in my life that believed in me before I believed in myself. And so when coaching launched and I was introduced to that and I came in, I didn't come in thinking this is my ticket. As being a broke actor at the time, I was living in New York City. I was doing coffee demonstrations in Macy's to make ends meet and passing out flyers in Times Square as a 30-year-old grown-ass man. That's humbling. I never really had a career. I had a bunch of jobs. And But when I got in, I didn't think, well, here's my meal ticket, or here's how I'm going to pay off $60,000 of debt, or here's how I'm going to make, multiple six figures. I just was like, oh, I like these people online. I feel good when I pop online and I see my buddies working out, or I get to encourage them. And so in my head, when I signed up for coaching, it wasn't, well, if I don't make X amount in a certain amount of time, I'm going to quit. Or if I don't hit diamond buy, then I'm going to quit. And I hear a lot of people that they're like, okay, well, if I don't make some kind of, I literally came in and thought, if I never make $1 in this, I'm in this for life. Why? Because I'm a better person in this community than outside the community. I've had people think, well, Jimmy, I've thought about quitting. I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. Well, let's say this business isn't your jam. Let's say you're never going to build this business. You're never going to rank advance. You're never going to make any money. Are you going to give up on your own health and fitness in the meantime? I mean, are you just like, is life over there? Are you going to continue to work out? Do you continue to want to fuel yourself with like the best nutrition and supplements? And do you want to be able to follow like really easy to follow meal plans? Okay, so why would you, so you take the back door off the table. You take quitting off the table because you have time. Now we're going to talk about some things about some urgency and setting goals, and I'm all about, I think this business is built in a series of sprints. You can't go, 100 miles an hour all the time because you do burn out, but you have to do strategic sprints, and you have to do strategic sprints to get out of your comfort zone and to break a glass ceiling. And I found that the glass ceilings, Christine Dwyer told me this a whole long time ago, and Christine Dwyer heads up the biggest organization in this whole shoot match, right? And she told me there are glass ceilings before diamond, at 2-star, at 5-star, at 10-star, and at 15-star. And I have hit my head on all of those glass ceilings over and over again. And, I've done a sprint to diamond group where I didn't make it the first time. I did, hey, we're going to get to 2-star, or we're going to, and so any of the check marks or the things Jatana was so, nice to tell, to fill you in on my Beachbody resume, I tell people that I'll go out on a limb and say any of those accolades, Million Club, 15-star, whatever, took me longer to hit than anybody else. But you know what? Who cares? I hit it. I got there. If you follow Gary Vaynerchuk, he has a really interesting way of putting it. He said, I'm a tortoise disguised as a hare. I'm a tortoise disguised as a hare. And a lot of people look at me that way. Hey, Jimmy, you're on stage. You make videos. Your team must be rocking around. And I'm a grinder, slow and steady and showing up every damn day and just doing a few things every day. Like literally you put this business down to, wake up, fix your mindset, push play, drink a shake, read a book, talk to people. I mean, if you really at the end of the day, repeat, right? Like we can overcomplicate this thing. But if you're checking your mindset, right? First thing I do every day in the morning, I grab my phone, I put it on YouTube, and I literally put in motivational video and push play. And it's like those, and it's kind of cheesy. It's like the epic ones with the music, and there's like Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, and like this is playing while I'm like stumbling into the bathroom to pee or into the kitchen to find my Energize. Because you know what I realized is that little early section of the morning is where the negative stuff between my head kills me. If you're jumping up and the first thing you're doing is trying to close a challenge pack or checking your inbox or going to Facebook or Instagram, you're starting your day playing defense. And it's like the airplane. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. If my job as a coach is to pour into other people and to give other people hope, right? One of the mantras of our team is I say, we don't sell health and fitness. We deliver hope to a world that desperately needs it. And I truly, truly believe that. It's in the form of health and fitness. It's in the form of income. But think about it. Think about how many people you know. I mean, I just look at Jatana alone and just her story. I look at, she is a different creature than she was when she started this thing. And that's awesome. So am I. I'm like a different animal than I was when I started this. And, so for me, the mindset is it's the biggest battle every day. It's the biggest battle every day. Why? Because, man, the ghosts of Fat Jimmy are still in here somewhere of that overweight guy. But one thing I take a lot of pride on it, and what I want to set up as I get to these 15 things, is I'm really proud of the fact that I've been a coach 11 years. The ups, the downs, the tragedies, the change in Shakeology formula, a new back office, like whatever the next tragedy is, like we're going to get through it because I'm not going anywhere. And you have to make the decision before you get to make that decision. Does that make sense? Like before the decision's on the table, you got to know I'm not going anywhere. I'm a lifer. The other thing I'm super proud of is that I've lost 100 pounds and I haven't sniffed putting that back on. Now, I know people fluctuate with their weight and you may put on the 15 or 20, but I pride myself in showing up every day. And so I got to thinking about, why is that the case? You know, what are some of the things that I put into action for long-term success? And you have to be in this long game. I've seen people come in and build really quick organizations, sprint to 15 star that are no longer coaches. I had a coach come in and hit Success Club 100 her first month. I can't find her now. Like, you get really excited, but I'm almost more concerned with the person that comes in, and Jatan, I don't know if you feel this way, but I'm almost more concerned with the person that comes in and crushes it their first month, because in the back of my head, I was like, okay, are they going to have the stomach for the fight? Because it's not if it's going to get hard, it's when. And if month one, they're like, well, this is easy, I got this down, they don't stay coachable, and they think it's always going to be that way. One of the analogies I use is, and if you find yourself playing comparisons, like, well, they've been in this long and I haven't been in this long, the comparisons I make is, if I gave each of you a deck of cards, 52 cards, right? And we know that everybody has 4 aces in that deck. And we start turning cards over. And I'm turning 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just getting like 2s and 3s and 4. But Jatana, on like the third one, hits an ace. Maybe she hits an ace on the 3rd and the 6th card. And I'm like, whoa, she's already cranking. Now here's the challenge for both of us. Am I, without having any results yet, am I willing to continue to turn cards believing that those 4 aces are there? Now here's the bigger challenge. Jatana hits 2 in her first 6. She willing to maybe flip another 40 cards before she finds the next one? Or does she go, oh, it doesn't work anymore. I've run it, my warm market's gone. There is nobody that wants to do this anymore. I've already tapped out my people. We all have the 4 aces in our deck. It's just a matter, are we willing to go through all of them? And what if your 4 aces that would change your life? They say you only need to find 5 people anywhere in your downline that's as into this as you to really change your life financially forever. Think about that. 5 people. I don't even have to sponsor them. Just 5 people in my world that are willing to go run after 5-star, elite, make some money that will change your financial future, not only yours, but your families, your children, the next couple generations. Are you willing to flip the cards long enough to potentially change everybody you care about's life? That's where I'm like, you gotta think long-term with this, right? You gotta have the stomach for the fight. And that's why, again, I'm gonna go back to, if you're not doing something to pour into yourself and your mindset first thing in the morning, you're already behind. You're already losing. Because it's such a monster. There's a great book that I highly recommend called The War of Art. It's not The Art of War by the Asian guy, whatever, Sun Tzu or whatever. This is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And he talks about resistance. And he talks about it, he's a screenwriter. He wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance, if you ever saw that movie, a golfing movie. But he talks about writing screenplays, and he really puts this around art, and he talks about resistance. And that resistance only shows up when we're doing something worthwhile. When we're trying to do something bigger than ourselves. When we're trying to break a plateau or a glass ceiling. And that the closer we get to breaking through, the closer we get to that goal, the bigger resistance is. So if you're going through a hell of a time right now, awesome. You know, you've heard the phrase, if you're going through hell, great, keep going. Because there's only one way out the other side. And if things are really, you know, you're getting flack from, you know, your spouse or your friends or people, man, you know how many friends of mine told me if I see, early on, if I see one more shake post, dude, like gave me so much stuff. I went on a bachelor party with all these guys a couple months ago in New Orleans. Still, none of those guys ever really got involved in my business. A couple probably as customers a little bit, but to a person, they all individually kind of pulled me aside at one time and was like, it's pretty awesome what you've done, dude. You know, as I'm the only person doing IG stories through New Orleans, they're like, this is kind of what you do for a living. I'm like, yeah, kind of. You know, they're like, well, that beats going to an office. But if I'd let, and these are some of my best friends that I've known for 20 years. And there was a time that they totally, kicked me in the shorts a ton about this. But I had to be like, okay, great. If you're going to be, you'll be with me on the other end. Like, I'll take the ribbing right now. In my family, it's these things. So really quick, I know I just wanted to settle that up to give you the 15 things, and hopefully you're taking notes. Chalene Johnson's been a personal mentor and a business coach of mine for a while now. And she always says smart people take notes. And I believe it. I was sitting here taking notes about how Jatana set up her diamond retreat. So I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I'm a consummate student. I never feel like I have this figured out. Every day I wake up going, what am I doing today? But you just keep showing up, right? So here's 15 things for building a won't stop mentality. Number one, this is super simple. You got to really, really want it. And you got to want it for you, right? You really got to want it for you. And what we do is serve other people, right? And we help other people. And this is a people business. But somewhere in this, you got to want to change your life. Or you got to want to do something for your kids. Or you got to want to build this to get out of the debt, or to, I don't know what it was. But somewhere along the way, you got to decide you really, really want it. And it almost becomes obsessive. It really does. And again, this isn't all the time, every day obsessive, but if you're stuck and you're like, I can't seem to get over this hump, then you have to pick a time of period and you're like, okay, for the next 60 days, I'm not going to have that work-life balance. I'm not going to have, but you got to give yourself a time, right? Maybe that's a conversation you need to have with your significant other and say, hey, this is why I really need this to make this work. Can you bear with me for 60 days? Because then if you give them an end date that you're like, hey, my goal is whatever your specific goal is by this date, and you've made that agreement, and they're going to help with the kids, or they're going to give you your time, or they're going to know, hey, you may be on your phone a lot. Dude, if I had that conversation and I go lock myself in my office after dinner or late at night, or like I'm doing right now, you better believe I'm going to get stuff done. I'm not watching cat videos, and I'm not watching 84 training videos on YouTube. That's not working your business. Oh my gosh, like, what drives me nuts is when I ask somebody like, hey, how's your day go? Oh my gosh, Jimmy, I had the greatest day of my business. I'm like, oh, tell me about it. Well, I got up and I listened to personal development. Like you said, I worked on my mindset and I pushed play. And then I enjoyed my Shakeology where I listened to the National Wake Up Call. Awesome. And then right after that, I sat down and I was rearranging some things on my desk, and I saw somebody was going live on the Beachbody Champions page. And I thought it was awesome because they were talking about sneak peek groups. And I really needed to do that. I took some great notes, got some really great ideas, and I'm super motivated. And then I had to eat lunch. And so after that, I actually saw on YouTube that Melanie Mitro had talked about how, about some leadership tips. And I thought that was great. And then, about that time, it was time to pick up the kids. But I was so inspired and so motivated. So I picked up the kids and we had dinner. And then, you know what? Afterwards, I got a chance to listen to Jimmy talk on this team call. And again, so many things. I'm so motivated. It's been a great day in my business. I love you. But you didn't do jack in your business that day. You didn't. That's the equivalent of just like brushing your hair in the mirror, making yourself feel pretty. Like, you didn't do anything. If there isn't an opportunity for somebody to tell you no today, you don't work your business. That's period. Our job is not to convince people to get involved. Our job is to literally establish relationships, get a conversation to a place where we give somebody an opportunity to take a peek at something, whether that's the program, the product, or the business. Now, some of those conversations happen quick and you can get to that place. Some of these things are long games. Sometimes I've had people that have been watching me for 2 years finally message me and like, all right, I think I'm ready. And I don't even know who those people are. But if today I didn't give somebody an opportunity to say, no, I don't want to be in your group, or no, I don't want to be in your team, I didn't do my job today. I didn't do my job today, right? Okay, that's a really long number one. Number two, you got to respect the process. And a lot of these are going to tie in together. You got to respect the process. The passion has to be around the process. What I mean by the process, exactly what I've been describing. The grind. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I do my mindset. I get my workout in. I grab coffee. It seems crazy now. And when I look at it from the outside, I'm like, yeah, my schedule is kind of stupid. But somewhere along the way, I fell in love with the results and how I felt when I did it. And you get in that groove, right? Like, you just kind of find your that groove, right? And you're like, I'm in this thing. So the process, it just has to become a habit and a lifestyle. Again, I had a mentor that used to tell me, he's like, Jimmy, don't set your goals on how many coaches you're going to sponsor in a month. He's like, the goal should be on how many conversations you're going to have, because that's what you can control, right? At the end of the day, there are things that we're going to get better about overcoming objections and helping people pull the trigger. But at the end of the day, we can't really force anybody to say yes. But I absolutely can control how many people I reach out to in a day, how many conversations I start, how many new friends I make on social media. That's completely in my control, right? Number 3, make yourself proud every day. Make yourself proud. Do something. One of my favorite people to listen to in the morning, if I'm not listening to one of those epic motivational speaking things, is Pastor Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church in North Carolina. Well, I see some nods. Yay, I like when people know who I'm talking about. And he's really cool and this fashion-forward guy. And there for a hot minute, it was a junior high. I think I thought I was going to be a pastor. I just probably couldn't cuss as much as I do. But I'm just like, I just like his energy. I just think if I ever had gone that route, he would have been kind of the way I would have tried to have done it. And he shared a story about taking tennis lessons and about how he's taken private tennis lessons. And he's a really intense guy, and he tends to focus on what's not done yet or what still isn't right. And like we all do a lot of times, we're really hard about giving ourselves credit. And his tennis coach stopped him. He's like, Steven, he's like, you get really upset when things go wrong. He's like, but even when you hit a ball right, when you do something correct, you don't celebrate it. Like, you don't acknowledge it. And Steven's like, well, I don't know. I just don't want to be really boastful. He's like, no. He's like, Tiger has the fist pump. He's like, we got to give you something. So he came up with if he does something right, he pats his leg. Pat your leg. It's become a phrase around my house. It's become a crazy phrase with some of my coaches. Some little silly thing. You made your first video. Pat your leg. Hey, I reached out to that person I've been scared of reaching out to. They said no. Pat your leg. Yeah, you got to find little ways to make yourself proud every day. What'd you do today? There's always going to be stuff at the end of the day that you're like, I should have, I didn't, I could have. But what can you celebrate today? Make yourself proud, right? Number 4, how you do anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. Some of these that I'm going through an 8-week course with a guy named Jesse Itzler. You guys are probably more familiar with, you're going to take this the wrong way now. I set this up totally wrong. I was going to say, you're probably way more familiar with his wife, Sarah Blakely, who's the CEO of Spanx. But none of y'all need Spanx, so don't worry about that. I'm going to get all these dirty messages like, I don't wear Spanx. But Jesse and Sarah they're a great social media following. Go follow both of them, Jesse Itzler, Sarah Blakely. And so Jesse, I'm going through an 8-week course, and he had his own version of this, and he was sharing a story with how you do anything is how you do everything, is that he was in the backyard with his kids, playing with the water hose and stuff, and it was time to go inside, and he threw the water hose down. He's like, I'll get that tomorrow. It's just a hose. And he stopped himself before he went back in the house, and he's like, no, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's an unfinished job. If this little thing I do unfinished, it's going to bleed over into other areas of my life, right? So how you do anything, whether that's the workout, there's a video of mine on YouTube where I talk about finishing strong. And we've all done it. You're in the middle of insanity. You're doing power jumps. And Sean starts counting down 3, 2, 1. And at 3, you start taking the break, right? But you missed like 8 extra reps if you'd have finished it out. And 8 extra reps over another 30 minutes, that's 100-something other reps. Who's going to get in better shape, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. And so for me, it starts with my fitness, but it bleeds over to everything else. Number 5, build the machine. Jesse talked about this, and I was like, I'm totally going to borrow that from him. And the machine is you. So when you're doing something hard, you're building part of the machine. The other day, I had to build the patience part of my machine with my children. When you're eating, you're building are you fueling the machine right? Your workouts, are you really giving each one 100%? Are you just going through the motions? You're building the machine. When things are hard, Jesse talked about how, when he runs these 100-man ultra marathons and it's running as hard, he just kept telling himself, I'm building the machine. I'm building the machine. I'm getting stronger. Are you building the leadership part of your machine when you're really struggling and your coaches aren't doing anything and so nobody seems to do anything and you're like, okay, If there's a theme there, that's back on me. I got to build the leadership part of my machine, right? I'm building the overcoming fear part of my machine when I send out that DM to somebody, when I'm reaching out to my girlfriend to say, hey, have you ever thought about joining my team? And I'm scared what she's going to say. You know, you're building the courageous part of your machine. You build the machine. You're the machine. Number 6, remember tomorrow. When you have a split second to think about something. So the example I heard before is like, yeah, you're at the holiday Christmas party and jumping on a desk and having too many drinks at the Christmas party sounds great, but remember tomorrow. How's that going to look, when you have to roll back into the office? But beyond that, like, you're at the end of the night and you haven't sent those messages out, or you haven't had somebody give you the opportunity to say no, or you didn't do that workout because you didn't put it first thing in the morning, or the mindset piece. How are you going to feel about that tomorrow? You have a split second to be like, I can tap out and just chalk this up to a bad day, or I can check off with those days that were overwhelmed. It's my least favorite word. I tell my team all the time, overwhelmed is a choice. Make a better choice. You know why? Because overwhelmed is just a way to hide behind procrastination. Overwhelmed saying, I have so much to do, I'm not going to do anything. Anybody listen to the comedian Jim Gaffigan? You know who I'm talking about? And so Jim Gaffigan, he always talks about how out of shape he is and how lazy he is. He's like, have you ever been so lazy and had so much to do? Oh, he's like, what do you say? It's like, you ever had so much to do that you decided to just take a nap? Absolutely. And that's how I used to avoid work. I literally would go, I just need a nap. And then that became a habit. And I was like taking naps every day, right? And so remember tomorrow. How are you going to feel? And it goes back to make yourself proud. Like these things, there's a lot of these that intertwine and connect. Number 7, link it to something exciting. Dude, Jatana has provided something exciting for you. These badass retreats, right? I'm quitting tonight and waiting 6 months and signing up for you guys. Link it to something exciting. What are you going to do at the end of that 60-day blitz? What are you going to do? So I'm sure you guys are familiar. One of the rock stars on my team is Tulin Emery, Coach Tulin. And if you've never read the book Go for No, I highly recommend it. It's a book that's all of this big. And she's the only person I know that ever really embraced that concept, where she literally has a notebook like this, and every month her goal is to get 100 no's. Why do you think this chick can bring in 50 coaches a month? It's not about that. It's about she literally seeks out no's, and then people ended up telling her yes, that she totally thought would say no. And I don't know that I've embraced it that way, but she literally geeks out over no's because she's like, oh, hey, the next one may be this. Let me get to these 100 no's. And she has half the time she never gets to 100 no's by the end of the month, but she's Success Club 120 or something. It's ridiculous. So link it to something exciting. What are you going to do? What excites you about this? Is it the new outfit? Is it you're going to go, treat yourself to concert tickets? Is it, I don't know, like link it to something. If you hit that goal, something exciting. Number 8, and that's this whole thing what I talked about, is stay in the game. This is what we set the whole thing up with. Most people are weeded out in the last 5%. I turned 40 this year and beforehand, and so in fitness, a lot of things, the thing I still kind of hate is running. And so somewhere along the way in my statistic head, I'm like, I'm going to run a half marathon right before I turn 40. And what I learned in prepping for that is, I don't care if you're running 3 miles or 13.1, that last half mile is awful. It sucks. And it's all mental. It's all mental. Jesse Itzler has this great book called Living with a SEAL. I highly recommend it, where he talks about how he hired a Navy SEAL to live with him for 30 days. It's a great book. I really highly recommend the audio. If you're offended by profanity, don't get the book, because Navy SEALs cuss a lot. But it's a really great thing. And the Navy SEAL talks about all the time is when our brains tell us we're done, physically, whatever else, especially physically, when we're at our max, we can't do any more, we're only at 40%. Our brain's jobs are to protect us from pain. And whether that's pain of rejection, whether that's physical pain, like your brain's job is to try to protect you. And so you think you're more tired than you are. You think you're tapped out more than you are. You think you're hurt more than you are. It's because your brain's trying to protect you, but you're tough. you can handle so much more than you think, right? And so that last 5% is where most people tap out. My goal at the end of that half marathon, I didn't want to walk at all. And it took everything in my gut to not, like, I could see the finish line and it didn't help. Like, I literally wanted to walk so badly. And I had a small Asian lady come by. She saw me about to stop. And she literally came behind me and tapped me on the back and said, listen, like, I thank God for that anonymous Asian woman that I don't know her name, because I was about to be that person in the last 5% that tapped out, you know? Number 9, channel something. I don't know what it is. Is it your kids? Is it determination? I'm gonna let you in a little secret. So one of my favorite books is The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. What I like about The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy is that he tells you what all's gonna suck about this. He doesn't sugarcoat any of it. And he talks about how amazing entrepreneurs like Bono and Oprah and all these people, like 85, 90% of what they do, they don't enjoy. But when they're in that 5 to 10% that they're like in their zone, it's like worth everything. And the other thing he talks about in the book is what moves the needle for you. And sometimes it's a dark space. It's not always sunshine and roses. Can I tell you, I'm a really positive dude. I'm Mr. Mindset. You know when stuff gets done? I get pissed. I get really fed up and mad. And I channel that a lot. And I have to really walk that line. You know, the family, we watched a Star Wars movie tonight. And I was just talking about, like, in my head, like, the dark side and the light side. Sometimes I gotta dip into my Darth Vader to make stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I probably lost half of you right there. But that sometimes channel the anger. If you're fed up with something, for me, I got tired of being on somebody else's schedule. I got tired of having anxiety every time the mail came because I knew the bills were coming. But more than anything, I just got fed up of feeling like I wasn't going to reach my potential. Because always growing up, people always like, Jimmy, you have so much potential. And that still drives me. Because I still don't think that I've done all the things I'm supposed to do. You know? So what is that? I channel something. Number 10. So simple. Do one more. Whatever it is. Send one more message. Make one more video. Do one more rep. Hold plank one more second. Listen to one more positive. The day you want to quit, give it one more day. Do one more. And whatever that is. And it's going to serve you really, really well. It's not complicated. It's hard, right? And if you're looking for easy, please tell me the amazing, life-changing thing that ever happened on the other side of easy. Think about the people you admire, who you look up to. Is it the person that just like had their shit like everywhere all the time, like that they never had to work for anything? Do we admire those people? No. Number 8 was stay in the game. So do one more. Number 11, see where your feet are. Again, I'm gonna steal from Jesse here. Jesse's second book, which I haven't read yet, is Living with the Monks. So he goes and lives with like these Benedictine monks for 6 weeks. And he's in there and he has this huge pile of dishes he has to clean. And the monk comes in and asks him how things are going. He's like, there's probably 400 dishes in here. He's like, it's not going good. I have all these dishes to wash. And the monk said, no, you only have the dish that's in your hand. And I heard that and I was like, whoa. Because it's the same thing. If I look at my weight loss or my business, my goal when I pushed play the first day wasn't to lose 100 pounds. It was to get off my couch. When I signed up to be a coach, it wasn't with dreams of 15-star millionaires club. It was, how can I help somebody else feel as good as I feel right now with these programs? Just be where your feet are. What's the next step? I got coaches wasting time watching videos on YouTube about how to hit 15-star that haven't hit Emerald yet. Right? Like one step at a time. And where are you today? And how can you do the best? I've heard that same story kind of told about a bricklayer who was building a wall. And somewhere along the story, basically somebody comes by and he's like, oh my gosh, You have to lay all these bricks. You're going to build this big wall. He's like, oh no, I just have to lay this brick perfectly. You know how a perfect wall gets built? By paying so much attention to each brick going down specifically. This conversation, this relationship I'm building, this follow-up. Don't treat people as numbers and Success Club points. Because I'm telling you, some of the best people that you'll ever have on your team may come onto your team and not garnish you any Success Club points. I wouldn't have. I would have had a program, and then I would have brought some, like, the multivitamins, and I would have been like a ding, 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 ding. I know people that came in, you know, with their pirated copy of Insanity, and they're $39.95 and have dominated this business. You know, do we want them all to come in with challenge packs and get our points? Absolutely. Do we feel like it's really going to help them have long-term success? Yes. But don't dismiss the person that just wants to buy the 10-pack of Energize from you. Because if you'll take care of them, you may change their life. And if you change their life, they may change your business, which is going to change your life. It's all cyclical, right? Number 12, chip away. I mean, this is a lot of ways it's kind of the same thing. But it's that one little thing. It's like if you're trying to cut down a redwood tree, you got to choose to like pick up that axe and take a swing every day. It's not coming down day one, and it ain't coming down day 30. You know, and as much as I love the 21-day fix and what it's done for this business, or what it's done for the, you know, the network as a whole and the explosion and everything else, my only thing about it is I feel like people came in thinking they could change their business as fast as they changed their bodies. And I know early on, those of us that had to go through 90 days of P90X or 60 grueling days of insanity were already used to doing stuff for a long time that was hard. And this business is like that, right? So, you know, it's not that, yeah, thank God for 80-day obsession, because you're like, okay, at least we're on the right path here as far as business goes. But it takes a long time to build a business. And the other problem with this is that the entry barrier is so low. Most of you don't treat this like $1 million business. Treat this like the business you want it to become, not when it becomes it. If you were the CEO of $1 million business, how would you be running things differently right now? Even if you're doing this in limited part-time on your phone, like how would you be kind of listening to a team call while you're scrolling Instagram, while you're doing XYZ? You know, no, you would give 1,000% attention to each activity individually, right? Like Carl Deichler is a CEO of $1 billion business. He gives his, like, and when you sit down and have a conversation with Carl, you had a conversation with Carl. That dude, like, he's like there. Now he may work quick and move on, but in that moment, he's there, right? Number 13, have a mantra. Make it short. You know, my friend Josh Spencer has a tattoo right here that says, "Spencers don't quit." I know his mantra because it's on his arm. But what is it for you? Do one more, get better daily, be a badass? I don't know. And tie it to something. Tie it to an emotion and tie it to an action. I was joking. I spoke on Danielle Natoni's call last week. And so if you guys don't know, Danielle Natoni's a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. And most people know Rocky and the Rambo movies, but there's this one, and I loved it as a kid. There's this Sylvester Stallone movie back in the day called Over the Top, where he was a truck driver that was earning extra money for his kid by doing arm wrestling competitions. And so he'd always wear this trucker hat, right? And right when he would come up and it was time to like get serious and he had to beat the guy that's like twice his size in arm wrestling, he'd turn the hat backwards, right? That was his way of telling his body, it's go time. For me, that's my Energize every morning. I don't do the shot thing. Like I make it and I sip it and there's like a ritual to it because my body knows it's almost game on because we're going to go because there's no half-ass in a workout, right? What is the mantra when you want to quit that you're like one more, right? I got this. I'm building the machine. Well, I don't know what that is. You got to figure out what that mantra is. Maybe it's the name of your kids. I don't know. Maybe it's a mentor or coach that you had early on that you like want to make them proud. They're not here anymore. You know, for me, it's a voice teacher I used to have named Jack Lee in New York City, played a huge role in my life. And he was all about the process. And a lot of times I think, make Jack proud. make Jack proud. You know, like sometimes it's something outside of ourselves, right? Number 14 is build grit. And you know how we build grit? It's like these calluses on my hands from doing pull-ups the other day. We build these things by doing stuff we don't want to do. That's how you build grit. But I don't want to, but I don't feel like it. Great, do it anyway. You're building a machine, you're building grit. Your goals don't care about your feelings. If you're only doing stuff when you feel like it, you're never going to do anything. You're occasionally going to move that one time you feel motivated. And I just think motivation is such an overrated word, because you know what motivation is? Motivation is an emotion, just like being happy or sad or anything else. When you get it, I feel like it's like a gift from heaven, and you better take action quick, because it's an emotion. It's going to pass. Like being mad passes and being happy passes, or being grumpy, or, you know, your whatever, like your emotions ebb and flow. Whatever you call motivation is going to ebb and flow. And anybody that's ever achieved anything didn't just move when they were motivated, right? My alarm's going to go off at 5 in the morning. Do you think I'm super excited about it when that alarm goes off every day? No. There's certain days I wake up before my alarm. But for the most part, 5 o'clock sucks, you know? But I'm building grit. It's become my normal. It's become my new normal. Think about this. I was an actor and a bartender, and I used to get home at 4 in the morning. I've changed my body clock because it was important enough to me. I did the things I didn't want to do. Now this is my new normal. But my life's so much better on this side, right? And here's number 15, and I think this one's so important. Check the box and move on. This literally is the key to my long-term success with this business. Outside of deciding I wasn't going to go anywhere, was the fact when I set a goal, I check the box, I celebrate for a very short time, and I set the next goal. I got people on my team, 5-star, elite. They got really excited. They celebrated too long, never set the next goal, and never hit that again. Don't be the one-hit wonder. Same thing with the reason I never put the weight back on is I found new challenges, like running the flipping half marathon, doing the next program, jumping in the next thing. You know, I just finished my first round of Lift 4. I loved it. I'm more excited about that program than I've been in a program in a long time. For me, it was like, I'm going to do it again, and here are the things I'm going to focus on the second time around. I'm going to up my weights. This is what I can do better. Now that I know the program, this is what I can do better. And again, these are things that I think coaches early on had an opportunity to do that, to no fault of your own if you're newer. We would do 4 and 5 and 6 rounds of P90X because we didn't have anything else, right? I mean, I eventually kind of started doing Turbo Jam. Little did I know that little blonde chick would end up being one of my best friends. But I only did that because I was like, okay, like my wife was doing it. And I was like, okay, I can do. I think I can kickbox and dance a little bit. I was a musical theater major, have a little bit of rhythm. But check the box and move on. You know, I go back to that book. I've mentioned a lot of books to you guys tonight, but the War of Art one, where he's talking about trying to write that manuscript and resistance. And he finally wrote it. He wrote the manuscript and he went into his mentor. He's like, look, it's done. He's like, awesome. Congratulations. Celebrate today. Start the next one tomorrow. And that sounds so demoralizing in some way. But I wish I'd understood that more, because there was a time that I thought, oh, when I get to diamond, or when I get to 2, or when I get to 5-star, that's when I can put this thing on cruise control and the checks just roll in. That's where I can just kick back and this thing. It doesn't happen. It goes back to falling in love with the process. What's the next goal? What's the next challenge? You got to fall in love with challenging yourself. I don't care anymore about 15-star, a million club, or 3-time elite. I haven't hit elite in the last couple of years. Japan knows that. Like, for me, it's like redefining things, because this business changes. You know, what's working today may not work next year. Are you willing to have the stomach for the fight as the things change? As corporate changes the rules of what elite is or how you earn your bonus? Well, we can complain about it. Trust me, I did. And I thought, wait, I either can, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, adapt or die, right? Okay, everybody's attention's on Instagram right now. What if it goes away tomorrow? Did you realize that the 2 founders of Instagram left the other day? And they're going to go build something else because they couldn't get along with Zuckerberg. Enjoy your Instagram while you have it. Facebook will probably mess it up, right? Just know it's not if, Do you know how I got on the Insanity videos? I sent Carl Deichler a MySpace message. Anybody still over there? No, but it worked at the time. We met at the first summit. I was the only coach I knew in Manhattan, and I found out that they were doing something in the city. So on a whim, I sent a MySpace message. Who knew? He answered. So that's the 15. I know that we're right at the top of the hour. I would love to answer questions if we have any time, if you guys got a jet, but hopefully this was helpful. And I'll let you know this. I love if I motivated you, if you feel super excited. You know the biggest favor you can do to me is take action. You know the messages that like light my heart up is the ones I get where somebody tags me in something publicly or sends me something privately and says, Jimmy, I did X, Y, Z, and this was the result. Because I would rather you take action than you just tell me that I got you excited for one evening. But thank you guys so very much.
That's me dropping the mic.
That's right.
I love me some Jimmy. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I took notes because smart people take notes. And I love the fact that you're like buddy with Shalene because she's like one of my faves. Two of my biggest takeaways that I agree with all of them. Two of them that were super important to my business is I treat my business like it's $1 million business since I was an Emerald coach. And Emerald coach meaning I started to discover what this was all about, and buying a $600 plane ticket to get to Las Vegas to go to Summit was important because I was treating it like $1 million business, even though I had probably only made $300 in business at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have always kept that mentality, even to the point where my office, like, I'm not going to work at a dining room table. I now have income coming in. I'm going to build myself an office because I'm a flippin' CEO. And so I treat this every day like $1 million business, even as a brand new coach. So I loved that. Also, you said the last 5% where people want to tap out. I had a conversation with one of the leaders on our team 2 days ago, and she's like, I can't do this, Jana. And all you guys know this girl. I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm done. This is a girl that's hit Success Club for like months and months at a time. I got on the phone with her, and I'm trying not to say her name. I got on the phone with her, and I was like, listen, this is the moment where everybody gives up. This is the moment right now. And this is the moment that I've had probably about 16 times in the past 5 years. So you can choose to fall into that moment and give up like so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so who you've seen give up. Or you can push past this and dig a little bit deeper. Thank you, Shanti. And let's get to work. Tell me the 10 people right now that you have as prospects ready to sign up or that are interested in coaching. She lists them out. She started listing out the names. I'm like, all right, Tanya, go. Tell me your story. This is her story. All right, here was what we're going to say. All right, Ashley, go. Here's what to say. She signed 3 coaches yesterday. She was about to quit the team, and she signed 3 coaches yesterday and will probably be a diamond coach the next 2 weeks. That tells you when you're at that moment where you want to give up and you want to quit because it gets flipping hard, because it will multiple times, that if you just push a little bit harder and you do one more step, like he said, you don't know what could be on the other end of that. She could be the next like 15-star diamond coach because she didn't give up in that moment. So just know that every single person on this call is going to have that moment. And I even told her, I said, now you've signed 3 coaches. Remember, that moment's coming back. It's going to come back over and over and over again. And you got to remember, you know what? I didn't give up that one time when I was almost diamond coach and I didn't hit it in time to go to the retreat. It was really a bummer. But you know what? I didn't give up. I signed 3 more coaches. And then guess what? That time's going to come again. You're going to miss elite. You're going to miss 5-star bonus. You're going to miss 10-star bonus and lose $18,000. That was me. That really sucked. And so, Jimmy, I 100% agree with that. And so hopefully you guys absorbed all that and maybe listen to it again to kind of really take it in. What questions do you guys have for Coach Jimmy? I have to call him Coach Jimmy because that's the way I've read him on social media for a year. Any questions? Don't be scared. He ain't that famous.
Daniel said it so perfect the other night. She's like, people who know who we are when we go to events, but she's like, when I walk into Target, nobody knows who I am. I'm like, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. And if you think of things later, like I'm super easy to get a hold of via 800 social media channels, and I do answer all my own stuff. So, so hopefully, there was something in there that really resonated with you. I encourage you while it's resonating right now, make a plan, put it on paper, take action tonight if you can, whatever that is. But this feeling right now at the end of this call will pass the same way the feeling at Summit does, the same way after a national wake-up call, whatever. So just put action behind it because it will. You remember, you'll be like, oh, remember that time 2 weeks ago that I was really excited about this? You got to put some action behind it.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Epic Empire. I love you guys. I'm so excited to start planning this 15-star diamond team, which we are going to get. So
go get it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Good night.
Jatana.